Who told you to use the hammer? Are you crazy? How dare you grab a hammer we never let you touch? A group of men were trampling someone on the ground. It was Tang Sochu from the forge. He was being beaten so badly his back arched like a shrimp. The attackers were apprentices from the Fire Dragon Room. This is for the Tang blood you carry. This is for breaking the rules again and again. They cursed and beat him. Tang Sochu didn't cry out. His eyes stayed full of poison. His lips clenched. Flesh split and blood flowed, but his expression never softened. Pyoewol studied Tang Sochu's face. As the violence escalated, Tang Sochu gritted his teeth and endured. Pyoewol liked that poisonous look because he knew it himself, the survivor's stare. Tang Sochu felt Pyoewol watching and turned his head. Their eyes met. Pyoewol tossed one of the throwing knives he'd just bought. It landed at Tang Sochu's hand. Tang Sochu looked up, questioning the meaning. Pyoewol answered simply, "Humans are worse than beasts. If you let them look down on you, they'll bite until you die. This beating won't stop if you just endure it. If enduring becomes routine, you'll live like a miserable dog." The apprentices, who'd assumed they were unseen, now noticed someone in the alley. The oldest of them stepped forward, voice hard. "Hey customer, don't meddle. This is a Fire Dragon Room matter." Mentioning the Fire Dragon Room was meant to intimidate. Its prestige in Sichuan was great. Even if its power had waned, many sects relied on its weapons. The name alone solved quarrels. But Pyoewol didn't flinch. He ignored the apprentices and looked at Tang Sochu. That attitude only stoked their anger. The apprentices' mood turned uglier. One of them suddenly screamed. They spun around. Tang Sochu had clamped his teeth into the screaming apprentice's shoulder. He'd bitten down so deep that blood sprayed, staining his own face and chest. "You crazy bastard! Let go!" They tried to pry Tang Sochu off, but he brandished a dagger, and they hesitated. The wounded apprentice writhed in pain. Just before he blacked out, Tang Sochu released his grip. "You madman!" someone spat. "How can you bite like an animal?" "When did you ever treat me like a human?" "You treated me like an animal," Tang Sochu snapped. "I'm tired of being beaten for nothing. From now on, I'll strike back at anyone who hurts me." He hurled his dagger at them. The sight in Tang Sochu's eyes, bloody, murderous, made the apprentices recoil. "Damn you! Just wait!" they shrieked, withdrawing with the injured comrade. When they were gone, Tang Sochu spat, blood mixing with saliva. His body was shattered inside. Pyoewol supported him to his feet. "Where to?" "The dorms behind the workshop." Pyoewol led him there. The room was dreadful shelter, barely better than a pigsty. A single shabby pallet lay inside. Pyoewol glanced around and murmured, "Not bad. You like this? Are you crazy?" Tang Sochu coughed. "It's like an Avenger's palace. I once lived in a snake pit." Pyoewol's voice was flat. "You don't have to lie. Do you think that comforts me?" Tang Sochu asked. "Do you see me as someone who comforts others?" Pyoewol shrugged. Tang Sochu exhaled, relieved. Pyoewol's words felt true to him. Pyoewol stood. "Where are you going?" "I have a place to go." "Where? Are you really that curious about others?" Pyoewol replied. "Didn't you meddle in a stranger's affairs just now?" Tang Sochu's face, raw with pain and resentment, stared back like a mirror. "I've been exploited, abandoned, and chased." "So you want revenge?" Tang Sochu asked. "Of course. Your enemies sound easy then. They're strong." Pyoewol's answer was blunt. "Who are they?" "The Imei and Qingcheng sects and all the sects that follow them. You'll declare war on the whole of Sichuan." Tang Sochu's voice rose, but it was excited rather than afraid. Pyoewol shrugged. "Maybe it's madness, but that doesn't make me insane. Are you really going to try?" "I have no reason to lie." "You're mad." Tang Sochu cracked a thin smile. "Now give me back the dagger. I bought it because I needed one." "This thing." Tang Sochu eyed the dagger. "That junk. It's worth a coin. If you try to get revenge with that, it'll break fast. Toss it." He flung the dagger aside and rummaged in the corner. He returned with a leather belt. "Take it." "What is this?" "You'll see when you use it." Pyoewol opened the belt. Inside, dozens of throwing knives were tucked into compartments, perfectly balanced, razor-sharp, each with a small ring at the pommel to attach a thread. He drew one out and examined the craftsmanship. It was clear why Tang Sochu had dismissed Buntaju's blade as trash. "You made these?" Pyoewol asked. "Who else?" Tang Sochu answered with pride. "Had to make them in secret. Didn't have time to forge openly, but making them wasn't hard." Tang Sochu's voice carried a stubborn pride. "Are you sure you want to give this away? I could sell it for a lot. Money means nothing." His voice was full of rancor. Bearing the Tang name had ruined him. The Fire Dragon Room kept him at arm's length, fearing the reappearance of the Tang line. If he'd been a disciple, they might have taught him, but as an apprentice, he learned at night and was punished when found out. "Everyone told me to endure," Tang Sochu said. "You're the first to tell me not to." "All right, I'll use them." Pyoewol loosened his old belt and fastened Tang Sochu's leather belt around his waist. From the outside, it looked ordinary. Inside, it hid a small arsenal. He practiced drawing and returning the blades silently, smoothly. Tang Sochu's face lit with surprise. He hadn't expected such speed. His eyes couldn't track Pyoewol's hands. My instinct was right. He's the owner of these weapons, Tang Sochu thought. He didn't know Pyoewol's past, but he recognized the way the man handled the blades. Oh, I don't even know your name, Tang Sochu admitted. Pyoul, he replied. I'll remember it. Tang Sochu nodded. Whenever you hear that name, know you're using the phantom daggers. If such a fine weapon has no name, that would be a shame. Phantom daggers, I like that. Tang Sochu smiled for the first time. The name fit the craft he'd poured himself into. Take care of them, he said. I'm Tang Sochu. If the phantom daggers ever break, come to me and I'll fix them. I will. Pyoul tucked the daggers into the belt and left. Sochu watched him go, whispering to the empty room. Pyoul, may your name spread through Sichuan. The more the names spread, the more chance the Yimei and Qingcheng might be weakened. Tang Sochu didn't believe a single man could topple two great sects, but he hoped to avenge a little of the past by watching Pyoul's name grow and by tasting some of their blood with his blades. More than 20 people gathered for the meeting of the Blue Moon Association. All of them were disciples of well-known sects across Sichuan province. Most of the men were there for one reason, to admire the beauty of Wu Xianhe. She was like a flower that drew countless bees, but she had no desire to remain one. I am not a flower waiting for bees. I will become the queen bee and make them all kneel before me. That was how the nickname Poisonous Bee was born. Though Sonhan never openly revealed her ambitions, those around her could sense them. To others, she was a beautiful yet venomous queen bee, dangerous, alluring, and impossible to resist. There was only one reason Wu Seonha remained in the Blue Moon Association, to further the power and influence of the Ime sect. The 100-Flower Room, Seonha's sect, was a subsidiary of Ime. With her usual grace, she hid her thoughts behind a soft smile as she addressed the gathering. The Blue Moon Assembly, I sincerely thank all of you for answering the call of such a humble woman, Seonha said sweetly. If it's Miss Wu Seonha calling, of course we'd come running. We're ready to follow wherever you lead. The men's responses made her smile widen. She knew her beauty captivated them, and she knew exactly how to use it. With a subtle motion, she crossed her legs, her snow-white calves momentarily visible. The men's eyes darted toward her, unable to resist. Men are all the same, pathetic fools. Outwardly, she remained demure, her voice gentle. The situation of the 100-Flower Room has been difficult under Qingcheng's pressure, she said. But thanks to all of you, we can finally breathe again. No matter how strong Qingcheng is, they can't control Chengdu, one man said proudly. We'll protect the 100-Flower Room. That's right. You have nothing to fear, Lady Seonha. Chengdu once belonged to the Tang family. In their prime, even Yimei and Qingcheng had to bow their heads before them. But after the Tang family's fall, Chengdu became a battlefield for many small and mid-sized sects. Oh, before I forget, Seonha said suddenly, I may not be able to attend the next Blue Moon meeting. What? Why not? There's been unusual movement from Qingcheng, she explained. The Yimei headquarters has summoned all disciples and affiliates back to Mount Yimei. A murmur spread among the men. Then we'll go too, cried Go Sheng-ak, one of her more impulsive admirers. I'll climb Mount Yimei myself to protect you. I'll go as well. So will I. The room erupted with shouts of loyalty. Seonha raised her cup, hiding a dark smile behind the rim. Fools, all of you. Satisfied with how the meeting had gone, Seonha felt radiant, until her eyes met his. Across the room, Pyoul looked up, their gazes locked. Her heart skipped a beat. For the first time, she was the one captivated. Who is he? His crimson eyes gleamed faintly in the lamplight, mysterious, almost hypnotic. Without realizing it, Seonha approached him, smiling brightly. This is my first time seeing you here, she said softly. May I know your name, young master? Pyoul studied her silently for a moment. Her heartbeat grew louder. Pyoul, he finally said. So, you're traveling alone. Are you perhaps a martial artist? Think what you like. Why so secretive? Are you hiding something? Do you usually interrogate strangers like this? Yes, why not? His indifferent tone caught her off guard. Before she could reply, Go Song-ak stepped forward, face flushed with jealousy. Are you trying to mock Miss Wu Seonha? Apologize. Kneel and apologize right now, or I'll make you. What if I don't? No matter how infatuated you are, Pyoul said coldly, you should at least recognize your own limits before charging like a fool. How dare you insult me? Unforgivable. With a shout, Go Sheng-ak drew his sword and swung. Stop! The other men gasped, certain the stranger would be cut down. But no cry came. Pyoul had already moved. The sword missed him by the width of a finger. It wasn't luck. Go Song-ak roared and unleashed the thunderstorm sword technique, a signature art of the Clear Sky House. 7 relentless strikes, each faster than the last. Blades howled through the air. But Pyoul slipped past every strike with almost lazy precision, retreating only a finger's breadth each time. Those watching froze. To maintain such a narrow distance, to evade death again and again, was inhuman. He's reading the attacks completely. Damn you! Are you using sorcery? It wasn't sorcery, it was synchronization, the art of matching an opponent's rhythm, breath, and killing intent perfectly. Pyeolwal's senses grasped every detail of Go Shongak's movement, the reach of his arms, the swing of his sword, even the moment his breath faltered. He moved only as much as was necessary. After several frantic exchanges, Go Shongak's breathing turned ragged. His technique crumbled. "This is your limit," Pyeolwal said quietly. "What?" Before Go Shongak could respond, Pyeolwal's body twisted like a serpent. He glided forward, a movement fluid and unpredictable, and struck. His palm hit Go So-young's chin with a sharp crack. The man's head snapped back, eyes rolling white, and he collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. Young Master Go. But before they could reach him, a dozen thin, silvery threads shot out from Pyeolwal's waist like lightning. Having made her decision in an instant, Seonha approached Pyeolwal with a seductive smile. "Pyeolwal, calm down. Look at me. They didn't mean harm. They just acted rashly because they were worried about me. People must take responsibility for their own actions," he said coldly. "Yes, you're absolutely right. Then, how about I take responsibility on their behalf? You'll take responsibility for them." "Yes, I will. Do you even know what that means?" "Of course, but I doubt you'd make an unreasonable request. Am I wrong?" Her pitiful expression was enough to sway anyone's heart. "You mustn't, Lady Wu. You can't suffer because of us. We'd rather die fighting," the men shouted, their faces twisted with guilt. They believed Seona was offering herself for their sake. Pyeolwal immediately saw through it. Not bad. She was beautiful, clever, and knew exactly how to use both her looks and the situation to her advantage. To the Blue Moon Association men, she seemed self-sacrificing. To Pyeolwal, she was captivating in a way that ordinary people could never be. "What should I do for you to forgive them?" Seonha asked softly. "Just tell me, I'll do anything." She left the decision to him, her expression submissive, yet full of hidden intent. A faint sound came from outside, subtle, imperceptible to anyone but someone of Pyeolwal's caliber. After a moment, the door creaked open. A beautiful woman stepped into the dark room, Seonha, dressed in a lavish gown. Though she had left earlier with her men, she had secretly returned. Determined to win Pyeolwal over, she had even thrown away her pride. Even so, Pyeolwal was not surprised. He had already predicted this. The sound of fabric falling filled the room. Piece by piece, her clothes slipped away until her pale body stood bare before him. When morning came, Sonyaha woke in his arms, her body aching, the room still filled with lingering heat. For the first time, she had fainted from pleasure. Pyeolwal was not only beautiful, he was terrifyingly skilled, even in ways that defied understanding. "I want you to kill someone," an assassination request, more of a favor between lovers. Hywal's eyes narrowed slightly. "Who?" "Nam Hosen, the young leader of the Thunder Clan." Pywal frowned. The Thunder Clan was one of the three great clans, rivaling even the Chingcheng and Ame sects. Seeing his interest, Seonha continued. "The Thunder Clan wasn't originally from Sichuan. It was formed by the descendants of the Shaolayan Temple. When the Chingcheng and Ame sects rose to power here, those descendants quietly built their own influence. By the time the other sects noticed, the Thunder Clan had already taken root." She bit her lip. "Taya Yanho, the clan leader, recently proposed that I marry his son, Nam Hozan. When I refused, he threatened to ally with the Qingqing sect. If that happens, both the Ma sect and the 100 Flower Room will be in trouble." The Thunder Clan's reputation was poor, and Nam Hozan's was the worst of them all, violent, arrogant, and feared by many. "You've already planned for the possibility that if I fail, you can deny any connection to me, keeping both the Ime sect and the 100 Flower Room safe." Goosebumps ran down Seonha's spine. "He's too sharp, too perceptive. He had seen straight through her." Trying to recover, she added quickly, "If you succeed, my aunt in the Ma sect will personally repay you." Or Aunt Janhua, one of the great disciples of the Abbess of Nine Calamities, our sect leader. Pyeolwal blinked, then slowly smiled. A thin, dangerous smile. "All right." Mount Ma could be reached by traveling south of Chengdu for 3 days and 3 nights. The magnificent scenery, rising over 1,000 meters, was truly worthy of Sichuan province. Originally a large Buddhist temple before becoming a martial sect, Yimei once received many offerings. But as its conflict with the Qingcheng sect intensified, visitors stopped coming. Now, only martial artists associated with Yimei traveled to the mountain. Numerous gates lined the road leading up the mountain, each guarded by Yimei warriors. To enter the sect, one had to pass through several layers of checkpoints. Eventually, they reached Yeomjongbong Peak, home of the Ime sect. Dozens of martial artists stood guard outside, their sharp gazes sizing up the newcomers. They truly live up to the reputation of a prestigious sect. Inside the Daejeon, a large chair dominated the room, flanked by high-ranking Ma disciples, mostly women. 3 stood out. The elderly Guasata, Zhonghua, the one-eyed great disciple radiating ferocity equal to Guasata. Yong Seol Ran, a beautiful woman in her 20s, the youngest disciple whose beauty even captivated Hyo Ranju. 7 years had refined Yong Seol Ran's beauty. "This is dangerous," Hyo Ranju thought. Guhasata spoke. "Did the master of the Black Cloud Corps send you?" That's right. Why a messenger? Her tone suggested displeasure. Mercenaries do not fight for free. What is your payment? We require 500,000 gold. The hall tensed. Preposterous. How dare you demand such a sum? If we comply, our sect will be the laughingstock of Jianghu. 500,000 yang could sustain Ma for years. The request was enormous, far beyond what the disciples could accept. Guhasata narrowed her eyes. You expect us to accept this? We could hire several groups for that sum. None would match the strength of the Black Cloud Corps, and if I refuse, a member of our corps may already be at Mount Qingqing. Insolence. A strong wave of aura erupted from the abyss of 9 calamities. Hio Ranju and O Yukpyo immediately felt its force, blood running from their mouths as they struggled to stabilize themselves. They maintained a calm appearance. Weakness would have been fatal. Guasata spoke again. Be honest. You don't expect me to give 500,000 gold. Tell me what you truly want. We are mercenaries. We follow those who pay best. Even 1 yang more and you become our master. Your members likely say the same to Qingqing. Hio Ranju remained silent. Guasata accepted her response. You are bold. I want to see your captain in person. If you wish, it will be so. Guasata's eyes softened slightly. She could have struck them down immediately, but wartime necessity dictated negotiation. The confrontation with Qingcheng had reached its climax. Even the superior Qingcheng sect might hire the Black Cloud Corps to win. Cunning. Truly cunning, she thought, tapping her chair handle. Normally, neither sect would concern themselves with the Black Cloud Corps. But now, their rivalry had escalated. If one side's strength waned, bringing the Black Cloud Corps into the battle could tip the scales. Knowing this, Zhang Moryang had boldly inserted his corps into the conflict. Despite his confidence, anxiety gnawed at him. The lives of 350 men rested on his decision. I should think about retiring after this, he clicked his tongue. This was the Black Cloud Corps' riskiest gamble. At that moment, Dao Shigo entered the guest house. Boss, you just got back. I was going to return yesterday, but I ran into a familiar face. Who? A man named Pyowol. I met him by chance the other day in Jinteng County, and he accompanied me here. The super handsome guy you mentioned. Yes, that's him. Jinteng County, that's where the Thunder Clan is located. Keep an eye on him, but make sure he never notices. Of course, I'll have Mon follow him. Mon, the most agile and quick-witted in the Black Cloud Corps, was unmatched in reconnaissance and surveillance. Their conversation ended as others arrived. He recognized Zhonghua, the one-eyed middle-aged woman and second-in-command of the Ma sect, and Yang Xiul-ran, a woman of striking beauty whose talent rivaled that of Wu Gunsang. Zhang Muryang softened his expression and greeted them. You've brought precious guests. Zhang Muryang, captain of the Black Cloud Corps, greets the honored guests of the Ime sect. I am Zhonghua of the Ime sect, the one-eyed woman said coldly, her gaze radiating energy. She was here only on orders from their sect leader Guhasata, who recognized the Black Cloud Corps' potential. Since the Grand Disciples have come in person, can we take this as a sign that the Ame sect wishes to negotiate? Zhang Muryang asked cautiously. That depends on the negotiations. If you attempt to deceive us with mediocre strength, the Black Cloud Corps will pay dearly even if we must delay the war with Qingzheng, Zhonghua replied. What? Trading rights beyond the Great Wall? That's absurd. Isn't it possible if the Ime sect rules Sichuan? Zhonghua slammed the rosewood table with immense force, splitting it in two. The room trembled. Had her hand hit Zhang Muryang instead, his skull would have been crushed. Zhang Muryang remained composed, knowing an outright confrontation would harm both the Ime sect and his corps. In that case, we'll give up the trading rights and the 500,000 gold. In exchange, please allow us to settle near the Western Plateau. You aimed for that all along. As mercenaries, no sect wants us near them. The Western Plateau is distant enough from the Ame sect for us to establish a base. Zhonghua considered this. While normally she would refuse, the Black Cloud Corps' power was too significant to ignore. They might be burdensome in the future, but for now, they were valuable. Very well. We accept your proposal. I promise you, with the honor of the Ma sect. Zhang Muryang smiled subtly. Securing a settlement would allow the Black Cloud Corps to prosper without conflict. Qingcheng negotiations would have been far less favorable. Will you be heading back to the Ime sect? If you wish to stay a day, we can offer a room. We'll stay in the 100-flower room. The young master there is my niece. Zhang Muryang sighed. Suddenly, Hio Ranju burst in. Boss! Urgent news! Zhang Muryang frowned, scolding her for intruding. The young leader of the Thunder Clan was assassinated. Was the assassin caught? No. O Zhonghua's one eye flared with intensity. Young Seoran's calm expression betrayed a flicker of surprise. The events set the stage for escalating conflict across Sichuan. Tension filled Mount Qingcheng as sunset approached. A group of visitors had arrived, carrying a coffin up the mountain. Among them were Tai Yanho and the martial artists of the Thunder Clan. The Qingcheng sect's warriors looked displeased at the sudden intrusion. In Jianghu, it was considered highly disrespectful to appear unannounced at another sect, especially one as sacred as Qingcheng, tied closely to Taoism. Normally, they would never allow armed outsiders to enter. Yet the matter was urgent, and the Qingcheng sect had no choice but to admit the ThunderClan's martial artists. "What is it you intend, sect leader Tae?" he asked. "That's exactly what I want to ask you," sect leader Muryoungjin, Tae Yanho replied. "Explain fully. Why have you brought this coffin here?" "This coffin holds the body of my disciple," Tae Yanho said firmly. Muryoungjin frowned. "I am sorry for your loss, sect leader Tai, but I fail to see how this concerns our sect. Do you truly not understand?" Tai Yanho's eyes flared with anger. The Qingcheng disciples bristled at his tone. "Show some respect. How dare you accuse the leader of our sect?" The disciples of Qingcheng, powerful and numerous, were ready to strike. They could have easily overwhelmed the hastily assembled ThunderClan warriors. Yet Muryoungjin and his followers restrained themselves, bound by Taoist principles. Raising a hand to calm his disciples, Muryoungjin turned to Tai Yonyo. "I really don't understand. Please explain what happened." As news of Nam Hozan's assassination had not yet reached Qingcheng, Muryoungjin had no context for Tai Yonyo's urgency. "Very well, I will show you myself." Tae Yunho opened the coffin, revealing Nam Hozan's body in a horrific state. The sight of the corpse, riddled with sword slashes, shook the Qingcheng warriors. "This is my disciple. Do you feel nothing seeing this? Can't you see the wounds? They are the 72 sword waves." "No way." The leaders examined the scars carefully. Muryoungjin's face betrayed confusion. The 72 sword waves were an unmistakably Qingcheng technique. Tae Yonho's voice rose. "Will you still deny it? My disciple was assassinated by an assassin wielding the 72 sword waves of your sect. This cannot happen without Qingcheng's involvement." "Sect leader Tai, calm down." "How can I calm down? My disciple was killed by your sect's sword." "Was it because my disciple's marriage to Wu Solha of the 100 Flower Room would align us with the Ime sect? Was your fear of Ime so great that you committed such a cowardly act?" Or Youngjin's eyebrows twitched. At that moment, a lion-like roar exploded through the hall. The audacity. Tai Yonho and the ThunderClan covered their ears and stumbled. From the ranks of department heads, a man leapt forward with a cold expression. Mu Zhongjin, Qingcheng's strongest warrior, a ferocious light burned in his eyes as he approached Tai Yonho. "Don't," Muryoungjin cried. "How dare you act so brazenly after arriving unannounced?" Mu Zhongjin ignored him, unleashing a thunderstorm palm technique. "Mercy, junior brother, don't kill him." Mu Yongjin and Mu Wajin shouted. Tai Yonho drew his sword in defense, but Mu Zhongjin's wind thunder palm shattered it and sent him flying. He struck again, shaking Tai Yonho's internal organs, leaving him unable to fight back. "If you speak nonsense again, I will kill not only you, but everyone who climbed this mountain," Mu Zhongjin warned coldly. Tai Yonho remained silent, unable to respond to the overwhelming force. "Why attack before understanding the situation?" Muryoungjin protested. "Better to subdue them first," Mu Zhongjin replied, storming into the Daejeon. Muryoungjin sighed. "Let the priest speak once sect leader Tae wakes. Provide them lodging." Mu Wajin, known for his gentle demeanor, escorted the ThunderClan members and arranged medical care for Tae Yonho. Muryoungjin then summoned Xiongyob, a renowned disciple known as the swordsmanship scholar. "You must head to Chengdu," Muryoungjin said. "Me?" Xiongyob asked. "Yes. Take disciples and investigate the situation. Seek assistance from Priest Wu if needed." Muryoungjin closed his eyes, silently praying for Qingcheng. As night fell, the Song guest house was quiet. Many guests had left, leaving Pyeolwol alone in his room. Only a small oil lamp illuminated the space, swaying slightly in the wind. Pyeolwol leaned against the wall, contemplating his life. He had survived a harsh world since age 14, arrested and confined, living day by day like a predator in a hostile environment. With his abilities, he could have lived comfortably, but he chose revenge. A sound of skirts brushing against the floor broke the silence. Someone approached. The door opened, and Wu Solha entered, radiant even in a simple dress. "So you're still awake," she said. "How did you know I was here?" "There's no place in Chengdu our 100 Flower Room's eyes cannot reach. And it's not hard to find a remarkably handsome man like you." Soha approached and sat beside him, her scent stirring him. "How did you do it?" she asked. "Do what?" "You made Nam Hozan of the ThunderClan so furious he blamed the Qingcheng sect. How?" "Who knows?" Pyeolwol replied calmly. "Weren't you the one who killed him? Does it matter who killed him? He's dead. That's what counts." Sohol's eyes softened, lightheaded from his presence. "You're right, nothing else matters," she whispered, her breathing uneven. In a moment of impulse, she hugged Pyeolwol's waist and looked up at him. Her white fingers traced his chest as she whispered, "You're like a bad guy." Her presence was alluring enough to ensnare any man, but Pyeolwol remained calm, his expression unreadable. "It'll be difficult for me to see you for a while," he said. "An important guest has arrived. I told you before, the Ma sect's first disciple, Abbess Zhonghua, is my aunt. She's come to the 100 Flower Room with her junior sister. She's fussy, so I need to attend to her personally." "Why is Abbess Zhonghua in Chengdu?" She's here to hire a group of mercenaries called the Black Cloud Corps. They're one of the strongest mercenary groups. The Amei sect had no choice but to contract them because they're weaker than the Qingqing sect. Solha spoke freely, unaware she was revealing sensitive information. Pyowo listened, absorbing everything. When will Zhonghua return to Mount Amei? He asked. She'll stay in the 100-flower room for a while, Solha replied. Really? It's pleasant seeing my aunt, but that girl is annoying, she added. That girl. My aunt's youngest junior disciple, Yong Seol Ran. Pyowo's thoughts drifted. Yong Seol Ran, he remembered the girl from 7 years ago. Though he had seen her only once, the memory remained vivid. Calm and collected, she exuded a more threatening presence than the fiery Zhonghua. If we meet in person, will I understand why? Before dawn, Seolha returned to the 100-flower room. Pyowo remained behind, leaving only after she had gone. Chongyob, with the help of ThunderClan members, examined the room where Nam Hozan was killed. So, the young leader of the ThunderClan was murdered here, he asked. The scene was grim, blood-splattered, furniture broken. Traces of the 72 sword waves, he said, no doubt about it. Could an external disciple have mastered it? Impossible. Only a few main sect students ever learned it. A copy alone cannot produce true power. Chungsan shook his head. Even if someone learned from a transcript, they would fail without proper cultivation. The assassin who did so before was killed by senior brother Mu Zhongjin. Chongyob nodded. To find the culprit, it's faster to trace how they arrived here than how they mastered the 72 sword waves. His sharp gaze swept the room. Despite the fog of uncertainty, one truth remained. There was an assassin behind the massacre. Eerie, the hairs on their necks rose. It reminded them of the assassination of Wu Gunseng 7 years ago. Could it be the same assassin? Chong Yob quickly dismissed the thought. 7 years ago, Mu Zhongjin had already killed that assassin. It's getting late. We'll try again tomorrow, Chong Yob said, glancing at the exhausted disciples. The second and third generation disciples were drained after a full day of searching. Pushing them further would be unreasonable. I apologize, everyone. We'll rest at a guest house and continue tomorrow. But can one inn accommodate all of us? A disciple asked. No need for an inn, Chongyob replied. In Chengdu, there's the Golden Gate clan. Oh, Chongsan sighed. Golden Gate, closely allied with Qingsheng, could accommodate their entire group at any time. Then we must hurry, Chomsan said. To reach the Golden Gate, they had to pass through Chengdu's city center. Crowds stared, recognizing the Qingqing disciples, a rare sight in such numbers. Qingyob remained calm, masking his concern, but his pace slowed as they approached a group coming from the opposite direction. The group was mostly women. Chongyob's expression hardened. He knew who they were. Imei sect, he muttered. Leading them was Zhonghua, accompanied by her disciples from the Beiquabang. She recognized the Qingcheng disciples instantly, her expression darkening with fury. Swords were drawn simultaneously by both sides, the air thick with tension. Yet no attack came. A sudden clash in Chengdu could cause irreparable damage. Chongyob raised his hands, signaling restraint, and stepped forward. Zhonghua emerged at the forefront. It's been a while, Zhonghua, he said. Swordsmanship scholar, you should stay in the mountains where you belong. Surely something urgent brought you here, Zhonghua. Is protecting the main sect so trivial that you can interfere with others? Shut up, Chongyob, she snapped. Their mutual animosity was deep, stemming from events 7 years prior. Yong Seol-ran, beside her, whispered caution. Step back. If we clash now, our losses will be greater. Quiet. Escape before the Qingcheng sect. Are you ashamed? Zhonghua retorted. Yong Seol-ran sighed, stepping back silently. Zhonghua then accused Chongyob, her voice sharp. Did you order the assassination after discovering the affair between the Thunder Clan's young master and the 100 Flower Room's sect leader? Incredible. You cast everyone aside like trash. Though she taunted, she did not strike, knowing that the center of Chengdu was no place for open combat. 7 years ago, one assassin had ignited this feud between Qingcheng and Imei. The consequences of his actions still dictated their interactions. Hyolwol, observing from the crowd, had noticed Yong Seol-ran for the first time in 7 years. Her face was etched into his memory, alongside Zhonghua's. He recorded each detail mentally, aware that this confrontation was more performance than battle. Both sides restrained, waiting for the right spark. Still, it's not a bad start, he thought. Both sides boasted giants among Zhonghu's elite. Hyolwol planned to stoke this tension, hoping to draw out others hiding in the mountains. Returning to the guest house, Hyolwol found an unexpected meeting waiting for him. Heo Ranju, she stood there, dressed provocatively, her presence magnetic. Beside her was a man in his mid-40s, Dao Shigo's usual companion, exuding a raw, commanding energy. Hyolwol immediately recognized him, the leader of the Black Cloud Corps. The man stood, introducing himself. I'm Zhang Muryang, leader of the Black Cloud Corps. Pleasure to meet you. The four of them sat around a round table. Hyolwol and Zhang Muryang faced each other, with Dao Shigo and Heo Ranju seated between them. The room was a private space inside the guest house, isolated from prying eyes, a perfect place for confidential conversation. I want you in the Black Cloud Corps. You may see it as a band of rogues, but I have a dream to form a proper sect. I need talented people. I won't ask your past or your reasons for coming to Chengdu. I'll offer the best treatment. Join us. Zhang Meryang's eyes locked onto Pyoul, steady and intense like a bear's, powerful, cunning, and ruthless. I'll give you anything. Ranju too, he added. Heo Ranju shouted, but Zhang Meryang ignored her. No matter her personality, her looks compensate. Nights with her are memorable. Heo Ranju groaned, though Pyoul knew she wasn't truly angry. He noticed the subtle movements around her eyes, tiny signs of expectation. Dao Shigo smiled faintly, observing the interaction. Heo Ranju, the notorious Black Ranju, was passionate and possessive by nature. Her blush confirmed it. Yang Meryang grinned, expecting Pyoul to yield, but Pyoul's response shocked him. It's not that compelling. Which part? Joining us or Ranju? All of it. I avoid things I'll tire of. His eyes sharpened. Heo Ranju's face flushed with fury. She had never been rejected so boldly. Her lips bled from biting them in frustration. Dao Shigo's fingers twitched, ready to act on Zhang Meryang's command. Then Zhang Meryang laughed. I'm joking. Why so serious? No, I'm not giving you Ranju. I just wanted to see your face. Listen carefully, though. Actions matter more than words. Take this seriously. It's advice for you. Haiwol replied calmly. If one day you walk the streets with your head falling off and your world ends, know it's because of me. Pyoul smiled lightly. Later, Zhang Meryang and his party left the guest house. Outside, the smile vanished from his face. He stared at the private room where Pyoul remained, watching him through the window. What are the Ime sect's movements? They're staying in the 100-flower room and not moving. Are you certain? Yes, I've stationed some disciples nearby. If anything unusual occurs, I'll inform you immediately. Good work, Changyob said, smiling. Though they belonged to the same sect, each disciple had a different disposition. Chongming, Changyob's immediate disciple, was quick-tempered, while Chongsan was meticulous. Thanks to this, Chongyob trusted Chongsan with delicate tasks like monitoring the Ime sect. We need to find the beast that killed the young master of the Thunder Clan. Only then can we understand the situation and respond appropriately. Of course, that's why I want to contact Homan. They likely know who had access to the Thunder Clan that day. True, their surveillance network in Sichuan is extensive. I'm reluctant to involve them, but time is short. We have no choice. I'll leave it to you, Chongyob said. I won't let you down, Chongsan promised. Among his disciples, Chongsan was the one he trusted most. Chongming, though powerful, would have been a hindrance in this task. So many sects are involved. The Golden Gate, the White Clan. God help me if I can't catch the assassin, Chongyob thought. Pyoul slept with his back against the wall, a habit ingrained for years despite his sharpened senses. Even if his martial arts improved, the instinct to protect himself while sleeping remained. He curled up like a shrimp, breathing so quietly that only someone fully concentrating could detect him. Even in sleep, he practiced the turtle breathing technique, which made his presence virtually undetectable. Mon, tasked with monitoring Pyoul, furrowed his brow in confusion. Pyoul had been designated a first-class surveillance target, a label for the most dangerous masters. Each target was assigned at least 4 monitors, rotating shifts. Mon specialized in this kind of work. He excelled in tracking, stealth, and predicting an opponent's tendencies and psychology. On this mission, he was stationed in the room next to Pyoul. The others observed from outside, hidden by the shadows or through windows. I've confirmed he's inside, Mon thought. Pressing his ear to the wall, he tried to hear Pyoul's breathing, but detected nothing. Opening the window to check, he signaled his colleagues, confirming that Pyoul had not left. Zhang Pian arrived at the guest house where the Black Cloud Corps had set up. He reported to Vice Captain Yang Wuzheng, the primary watch has been motionless all night. With sunrise approaching, we'll switch from remote to close surveillance. I see. Remain vigilant, Yang Wuzheng instructed. Yes, sir, Zhang Piang replied. Yang Wuzheng returned to his residence, studying a map he had drawn of the Qingcheng sect. He devised plans for an all-out war, noting the challenges posed by the 3 gates at the start of Menteen. Suddenly, Pyoul appeared above him, observing silently. Despite Yang Wuzheng's momentary paranoia throwing knives at the ceiling, he failed to detect Pyoul's presence. The assassin's stealth and assimilation skills were flawless. After some time, Pyoul left silently, returning to his guest house. Mon and the others remained unaware. He reviewed the intelligence he had gathered overnight. The Black Cloud Corps numbered 350, with 200 cavalry, effective in open terrain. He also confirmed their alliance with the Ime sect. This chaotic situation, unpredictable, intertwined, and precarious, was perfect for an assassin like Pyoul. Junior sister should return to the main sect at sunrise, Zhanghua said coldly. Senior sister. Yang Xiaoran blinked, surprised. The order was unexpected. Even if you stay, there's nothing you can do here. Go back to the main sect and remain by Master's side. But Master ordered me to help. If we hadn't contracted the Black Cloud Corps, I would gladly accept your help. The contract succeeded. and there's no need for you to remain. It would be a waste of human resources. Senior sister, no matter what you say, my decision stands. I'll send a letter to master so you can return safely. Reluctantly, Yang Xiaoran yielded. I'll go back tomorrow at sunrise, she said. Do so, Zhonghua replied. When the door closed behind Yang Xiaoran, Zhonghua hissed, that arrogant bitch, how dare she act like that before me. Zhonghua hated Yang Xiaoran above all others and Aimei. Even being in the same room made her skin crawl. Her hatred had begun long ago and deepened after she lost an eye to an assassin 7 years prior. She'd been harshly scolded by her teacher, Guasada, the abbess of 9 calamities, for failing to handle that attack properly, which nearly cost her exile for 2 years. The thought of being sent back to a tiny hermitage terrified her, and that fear had curdled into hatred for Yang Xiaoran, who seemed to escape punishment. Just then, a familiar voice called at the door. I saw Yang Xiaoran leave. Did you ask her to go? Yes, you did well. Her presence made me uneasy too. Junior sister has a strange aura. Seoha smiled and sat close, putting on a playful face. Are you seeing someone? You look prettier. No, it doesn't matter. Just don't hand your heart away. Men are unreliable. If you give them everything, only you will be hurt. Soha leaned in, excited. You know the young master of the Thunder Clan was killed, right? What of it? The one who killed Namhozan might be the person I met. Are you sure? Shonhua's expression hardened. It's not confirmed, Seolha admitted. But I'll check. Okay, Zhonghua said warily. If I'm sure, I'll bring him to you. Fine. What's his name? I'll tell you when I know for certain, Seolha said. I don't want to make a mistake with you, Auntie. Do it quickly, Zhonghua warned. It won't take long, Seolha promised. Despite Zhonghua's harshness toward other disciples, she was infinitely merciful to Seolha. At that instant, a piercing scream rent the air. Both women froze, then ran toward the sound. The noise came from the room opposite Zhonghua's. Several Amei disciples had gathered there, faces ashen. What happened? Zhonghua demanded. It's Gongxion's private quarters, someone stammered. Zhonghua shoved past them and entered. Gongxion's neck had been torn open. Fresh blood poured like a waterfall, soaking Zhonghua's chest. No, this can't be. Who did this to Gongxion? Zhonghua screamed, crimson staining her single eye. Xingcheng sect! They sent an assassin! They killed junior sister Gongxion! The disciples cried, calling for immediate vengeance. News of Gongxion's death reached the Black Cloud Corps as well. Now that their fates were linked, Zhang Moryang felt the loss more keenly than most. He found the idea intolerable. A great disciple, a direct disciple of Zhonghua, murdered inside the 100 Flower Room. The 100 Flower Room was no weak target. To infiltrate such a place without leaving a trace and to kill in broad daylight, that required professional skill. It's impossible unless an assassin of professional caliber did it, someone said. As far as I know, no such assassin exists in Sichuan. Since the Blood Shadow Group fell 7 years ago, no new top-tier assassin group has surfaced in Sichuan. Did Qingcheng send an assassin? The Qingcheng sect is prestigious. Even in a dispute, they would never hire an assassin against Imei. Their reputation would suffer more than any gain, Yang Wuzheng said. Zhang felt alarmed. His battlefield instincts, honed through experience, warned him of a crisis. What did he do last night? Zhang demanded. He didn't leave the guest house once. 4 men took turns watching. We detected no anomalies. For 4 days, he never left his room except for dinner. Zhang exhaled. He still felt something amiss. Why would such a man stay inside for 4 days? The feeling of incongruity lingered, but Zhang decided there was no point continuing the tedious watch in its current state. Their focus should shift to the Qingcheng sect. I don't know if we boarded the right ship, but we can't back out now. If this goes well, they'll rely on us more, Yang Wuzheng said. But we must be cautious. Zhang felt eyes burning into his back as the 100 Flower Room and MA disciples watched them, some with hostility. The Black Cloud Corps were outsiders and, for the moment, the targets of suspicion. An MA disciple led Zhang into the empty audience hall. Inside sat Zhonghua, Seoha, and a middle-aged, dignified woman. I called you to inspect her wounds. Why me? Zheng asked. You'll see when you look, Jinghua said, gesturing to the shrouded body. Zheng pulled back the cloth. Gongseon lay pale and peaceful, as if asleep, but her neck was cleanly split. The wound was astonishingly smooth, like a sharp, glassy cross-section. He had seen many corpses in his life, but never such a cut. This isn't a sword wound, he thought. A blade would tear and curl skin. This cut was unnaturally clean. Is it some kind of thread? No. Even the sharpest thread couldn't make the skin lie so flat. Goosebumps rose on his arms. He kept his thoughts to himself. Zhonghua's gaze was merciless. Have you ever seen a wound like this? She demanded. Honestly, no, Zhang admitted. Zhonghua's expression soured. He wanted to tell her his suspicion of Piowol, but Mon's report offered no evidence, and he couldn't make the accusation. Zhonghua pressed on. When will the rest of your troops arrive in Chengdu? We can gather them within 2 days, but if our cavalry enters the city, the Qingqing sect will be on alert immediately. It doesn't matter. We'll strike before they can prepare. You mean open war right now? This is my decision as the next leader of Imei. Will you refuse my orders? Zhang had no choice. The Black Cloud Corps had a contract with Imei. To break it now would ruin their reputation in Zhonghu. Reluctantly, he agreed. Zhang Hua's voice rang out, "I swear I will never live under the same sky as the Qingcheng sect." Her words chilled the room. Zhang Hua's hatred was said to be so intense that she could summon frost in summer, and as the likely successor to Imei's leadership, she had the influence to make that threat real. A faint sound came from the ceiling. He sat in the dark. He had been there for a long time, like part of the landscape, like the darkness itself. He was right above them. Even while Imei and the 100 Flower Room's warriors scoured the compound, he had not moved from his perch. Some searched close to where he sat and still did not detect him. Piowol watched everything. He observed the 100 Flower Room's reactions, the decisions of Imei's martial artists, Zhang Hua's conversations with her disciples, and the meeting with Zhang Moryang. She should not die swiftly. She should live and watch the consequences of her deeds. So Piowol decided to kill her disciple instead. He killed Gongsun rather than Zhanghua. Some would call that murder of an innocent, but Piowol did not care. Zhonghu was a place of killing and death. Sentimental notions of romance and friendship no longer applied to him. A faint sound, and Piowol slipped away like a snake. The guest house was quiet. Most patrons had left, so Piowol enjoyed a leisurely meal. The hostess had paid special attention to his breakfast, and he ate well, sipping tea in the morning light. The city buzzed with rumors about the murder. But here he sat calmly, half-closed eyes like a painted figure. Everyone else rushed, and his time seemed suspended. He had just finished his cup when a voice called, "Handsome Oraboni." He turned. Hioranju approached. "May I sit?" she asked. "What brings you here?" "I came to see how you are and to apologize." Her cheeks colored. The captain was rude that day. "Were you embarrassed?" "Not at all," Piowol replied without much emotion. "Think about it again," she said, "about the captain's offer." "Which offer?" "The Black Cloud Corps. Join us. I'll take care of you." "I can do anything," she said, leaning forward. "Anything you can imagine." Before she could finish, a loud voice cut through the quiet. "You left without a word, so I came to fetch you." Oh, Yakpyo, another member of the Black Cloud Corps. He kept his gaze fixed on Piowol. His stare carried a crude hunger that made Hioranju's face go cold. She remembered his vile tendencies and stepped in front of him. "Don't be greedy," she snapped. He ogled Piowol's handsome face and lithe body. Piowol's voice was cold. "Look away. Count to 3. "Oh really? What will you do?" the man jeered. 1. The man laughed. 2. His laughter faltered. 3. A sudden sharp crack echoed as Piowol threw chopsticks. The chopsticks sank deep into Oh Yukpyo's forearm. He raised that arm to protect his face and cursed. Then, with a barely audible sound, Piowol vanished from the table and appeared before him. Hioranju shouted and reached for her whip, but it was too late. A chopstick plunged into Oh Yukpyo's eye with a wet, sickening impact. He screamed and thrashed like an animal, scattering plates and knocking over chairs. "Oraboni, you're extreme," she scolded, panting as she cradled him. "If you act without thinking, you'll get into trouble. Be careful." She told herself the incident was an accident, a collision of Oh Yukpyo's filthy desires and Piowol's ruthless temperament. She didn't know the truth, that an assassin never moves from impulse. Every action is the end product of cold calculation. Oh Yukpyo was lying on his bed, one eye wrapped in white cloth and both knees heavily bandaged. Hioranju sat beside him. "How did this happen?" "We were unlucky. That bastard shattered the colic bone." Hioranju explained what had happened with Piowol. As the story continued, Zhang Moryang's face twisted further. "So you're saying this happened because of his foolishness?" "Yes. This is ridiculous." Zhang Moryang was at a loss for words. It was so absurd he couldn't speak. Right before their full-scale conflict with the Qingcheng sect, one of his key forces, Oh Yukpyo, lay half dead in bed. It was a huge loss for the Black Cloud Corps and a personal blow to Zhang Moryang. Your beauty doesn't seem to work on him. He must be a eunuch. Even when a beauty like me stands before him, he doesn't even blink. Did you see his eyes? Colder than battlefield veterans. Do you think a man with eyes like that feels affection? Give up. "I will. I can't hurt my pride any further." "Good decision. I'll make sure he pays for this humiliation." Cold anger seeped from her voice. They say when a woman bears a grudge, frost falls in May. It was unfortunate that Oh Yukpyo was out of the fight, but the rest of the corps remained healthy. They could still accomplish the mission. As soon as the cavalry moves, we'll join them. Prepare. Chongyom stared at the man across the table with a somber expression. The middle-aged man looked ordinary shabby clothing, common features. He was Oh Sung-kyung, head of the Hao clan's Chengdu branch. A native of Chengdu, he knew the region's affairs better than anyone. He spoke carefully. "So you came to ask about the assassin who killed the young master of the Thunder Clan?" "That's right. Finding that is like searching for a needle in the sand. Still, if anyone can find something, it's the Hao clan." "Has anyone suspicious appeared in Chengdu recently?" Well, any clue, no matter how small, we're desperate. There is someone. I don't know if he's related, but a strange man entered Chengdu recently. I haven't seen him myself, but he's said to be handsome enough to captivate people instantly. Women who see him even once can't get him out of their minds. You suspect he's linked to Nam Hosen's death. I can't say for sure, but he's the most notable new arrival, and he fits every condition you asked. What is his name? They call him Pyeowol. Pyeowol, yes. That's all we know so far. We can investigate more if you wish. No, we'll handle it from here. There was nothing more to gain. He placed a pouch of silver on the table. Thank you, sir. If you require anything, come anytime. Chengdu Martial Artist Directory. It recorded every martial artist active in Chengdu. Flipping pages, she found the most recent entry: name, Pyeowol identity, unknown objective, unknown affiliation, unknown note, possesses skill sufficient to instantly subdue the Black Cloud Corps' vice captain, displays extreme tendencies. First recorded at Red Sky Pavilion in Batang, Western Sichuan Province. He hadn't been in Chengdu long, yet the Hao clan already tracked him. Did he really kill Nam Hosen? His appearance, unclear history, and the force he showed against the Gujin escort agency made him a person of concern. Once this record reached headquarters, judgment would be swift. They would send experts to shadow him. As she moved to return the booklet, so there was such a thing. A cold, emotionless voice spoke behind her. Who are you? She secretly raised her chi. At that moment, a pale hand reached out from behind her. It seized the booklet she had been holding. That booklet contained information on countless martial artists in Chengdu. She tried to turn and strike the intruder, but her body refused to move. No blood arts, no forceful suppression, yet she was frozen, overwhelmed by his presence alone. The sound of pages flipping echoed behind her. Each second felt like eternity. A quiet mutter followed. Not long since I entered Chengdu, and you already did your research. I am the manager of the Hao clan's Chengdu branch. If you harm me, the Hao clan will never let it go. I know, that's why I came. You came knowing that. Why? Because I don't want my information circulating without my permission. Then, San Kyung rolled her eyes in panic. So, this is the man recorded in Chengdu's martial artist directory. Oh, you're Pyeowol. Correct. The intruder admitted it casually. Cold sweat rolled down San Kyung's back. There was only one reason for an infiltrator to reveal himself now: assassination. Let's compromise. I won't reveal your identity. Not a word will leave my mouth. But you already spoke quite freely to Ching Chung's disciples. His arrival here was no coincidence. He had been watching the Ching Chung sect's movements. He likely intended to leave quietly until he saw the first page of the directory. It had been filled with information about him. If this booklet reached Hao headquarters, his existence would spread across the entire Jianghu. She had steadily gathered internal chi. Her paralysis vanished. Die. She spun like lightning, arms slicing out. It was Byung-su, a Hao clan strike capable of cutting through thick trees. She unleashed it with all her strength. Even if it didn't kill, she was sure she could force him back. A gasp burst out. Her neck had opened like a fish's gills. Air hissed through the wound. She desperately pressed her hands against it. Fear and confusion blurred in her eyes. What? When? How? She never understood how she died. Only after her breathing stopped did Pyeowol emerge from the darkness. He waved his hand, retracting a thin thread, the soul-reaping thread. No guilt flickered on his face. He tucked the directory into his robe. A brief search confirmed there were no other records of him here. Headquarters would eventually notice something, but by then, it wouldn't matter. Sect leader. A desperate cry came from outside. Fosanhai sprang up, flung open the door. A disciple ran in, breathless. What is it? The Ching Chung and Ime sects are fighting in Chengdu. What? There's chaos in the city center. You must see it immediately. The incident began with an accidental encounter between a third-generation disciple of the Qingcheng sect and a second-generation disciple of the Ime sect in central Chengdu. They crossed paths purely by chance. The Qingcheng disciple attempted to pass quietly, as per his sect's explicit order not to provoke the Ime sect. However, the Ime disciple, already distressed by senior sister Gongseon's death, lost control the moment she saw him. Overwhelmed by rage, she launched an attack. The Qingcheng disciple did his best to defend himself, but the difference between a second and third-generation disciple was too great. Naturally, the more experienced second-generation disciple prevailed. The Qingcheng disciple fled toward Golden Gate, severely wounded, with the MAA disciple pursuing him relentlessly. Enraged, Qingcheng disciples retaliated and gravely injured her in return. Tempers erupted on both sides, and soon, warriors clashed in the streets of Chengdu. Cheng Yob attempted to restrain Qingcheng's disciples but could not calm their fury. Things worsened when Golden Gate joined the fray. Their allies entered as well, and like wildfire the battle spread. The Ime sect responded, bringing in the 100 Flower Room. Even the Black Cloud Corps became involved. Damn it, Zhang Muryang felt as if he were trapped in a nightmare. He, Yang Wu-jung, Dao Shigo, and a dozen Black Cloud Corps mercenaries stood in the middle of a battlefield that had once been bustling streets. We'll join the battle from the left flank, he told Yang Wuzheng. Cut off their rear and Qingcheng will crumble. Dao Shigo nodded. Yes, Captain. Only a small portion of the Black Cloud Corps' cavalry were inside Chengdu. The rest waited outside the city walls. Zhang Muyang now regretted bringing even those few. The situation had spiraled far beyond expectation. Everyone, stop. Fosenhai, leader of the Fire Dragon Room, arrived late and tried to mediate. It was useless. Warriors swung wildly, madness burning in their eyes. A stray sword cut Fosenhai's arm. The wound was light, but his disciples saw it. How dare you injure our sect leader? Unforgivable. The Fire Dragon Room joined the chaos. The situation deteriorated further. Shops collapsed, goods shattered, and panicked citizens fled. Some looted amidst the confusion, even murdering merchants and burning buildings. Flames spread to nearby structures. People hauled buckets of water, but it was futile. Pulewol climbed a tall tree, sitting on a thin branch. From there, he watched the battlefield. Two warriors caught his attention. How dare you send an assassin to kill my disciple? How can Qingqing call itself righteous? Zhanghua glared at Xinyo with her single remaining eye, murder in her gaze. Xinyo raised his sword calmly. You attacked us first. You hired assassins to kill Gunseng. And you may be behind the Thunder Clan young master's death. Nonsense. We didn't order his assassination. I heard the assassin used Qingsheng sword techniques. Explain that. You killed the young master because he was to be betrothed to someone from the 100 Flower Room. One of us dies here today. She lunged, wielding her Chaori, unleashing the Ime sect's broken jade sword. Cheng Yob countered with Qingcheng's blue cloud drop sword. Their clash shook the air. Yang Sailran's eyes trembled violently. An unthinkable tragedy was unfolding before her. Disciples of the Ma sect and the 100 Flower Room lay bleeding across the floor. Disciples of the Qingcheng sect and Golden Gate had fallen just as many, but Yang Sailran's gaze did not register them at all. Gonghua. She spotted a female disciple her age, Gonghua, a second-generation disciple of the Ma sect. They had never been close, but because they were of similar age, they spoke comfortably whenever they crossed paths. Their relationship, though shallow, was still special. Come on, get up, I'll take you somewhere safe. The faint movement stopped. Gongwa's breathing ceased. No, disbelief washed over her expression. She wanted this to be a lie. Just yesterday, these disciples had laughed together over meals. Now bodies fell all around her, blood pouring freely. Yang Sailran was among the few who knew the truth behind the hatred between Qingcheng and Amei. She understood that Amei had been in the wrong from the beginning. It was Amei who had hired the Blood Shadow group, and it was Amei who had betrayed them. Knowing the root of this feud lay with her own sect, she had been unable to fight on the front lines. Her conscience would not allow it. But now she realized, regardless of her hesitation, war had come, and because she had held back, Ime disciples were dying. I don't know how things reached this point, but I cannot watch Ma disciples die before my eyes. Yang Sailran launched herself toward Qingcheng disciples. A flurry of snow-white energy unfurled from her palm. The violent pressure swept through the Qingcheng ranks like a storm. Why isn't the Black Cloud Corps here yet? Zhang Muyang scanned the battlefield, confused. By now, the Black Cloud Corps should have arrived. But Zhou Joxin, sent to summon them, had not returned. Something was wrong. The Qingcheng sect. No, none of them have the luxury to spare manpower. He could see it clearly in their faces. They were pushed to their limits. It felt as though someone had intentionally orchestrated this disaster. Seo Pyo. Zhang Muyang called for the aid nearby. Yes, Captain. Seo Pyo hurried over, soaked in blood. Most of it was not his own. The flow of battle is strange. Our reinforcements haven't returned, and everything feels arbitrary. I agree. Things are moving far too fast. Slip out quietly and look around. I feel someone is manipulating this from the shadows. Find out if that's true. Seo Pyo withdrew without another word. He felt it too. As he left the battlefield, several warriors attacked him. He did not strike back, choosing to evade, and for that, he suffered shallow wounds. He ignored them. He had endured far worse. When he finally reached the outskirts, he looked back upon the madness. He had not seen a battlefield this deranged in a very long time. For elite disciples of Ma and Qingcheng to fall to madness, something was very wrong. Someone is orchestrating this, just as the captain said. He scanned his surroundings. His gaze locked onto the highest vantage point nearby, a massive tree overlooking the street. If someone were pulling the strings, that was where they would be. Without hesitation, Seo Pyo shot toward the tree. His body slipped through dense branches and landed lightly on a large limb. A chill of danger ran down his spine. He looked up just in time to see a dagger dropping from above. So you were here, you bastard? He twisted aside and shouted, hoping Zhang Muyang would hear, but his voice never reached him. Seo Pyo gritted his teeth. Fine, he would take down the mastermind himself. He was proud of his martial skill, ranked among the top 30 within the Black Cloud Corps. He moved toward the direction the dagger had come from. The foliage was thick, visibility poor, so he trusted his senses and leapt forward. Suddenly, another dagger flew toward him. He attempted to dodge again. He had avoided one before. This should be easy. His expression twisted with confusion. Mid-air, the dagger's trajectory changed. As though alive, it curved sharply and angled toward his flank. Damn. This defied common sense. Is that really a dagger? He tried to escape. Another dagger blocked his path. Blades darted in and out of the leaves like living serpents snapping at him relentlessly. He tried to shake them off. Failed. He felt like a moth caught in a spider's web. Dangling there, Seo Pyo finally saw the man killing him. A handsome face so striking it could daze a person. Yet to Seo Pyo it appeared as the visage of death. You! The soul-reaping thread sliced through his throat, severing breath and life. Pyoel regarded his face for a heartbeat, then released the thread. Seo Pyo's corpse fell, crashing against a thick branch before dropping out of sight. Despite the brutality atop the great tree, no one below noticed. It swayed gently in the wind as if nothing had happened. Pyoel retrieved his fallen dagger with the soul-reaping thread. The compatibility between Phantom Dagger and Key Thread was perfect. Just then, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield. Entire buildings collapsed as if bombed. Two figures faced each other, a man and a woman. Chongyob and Zhonghua. A massive crater lay between them, created by their desperate clash. Neither looked well. Chongyob's face was pale, blood dripped from nose and lips. Zhonghua's condition was worse, kneeling, vomiting blood, grievously wounded inside. Chongyob had gained the slightest advantage, but his condition was hardly better. It was mutual destruction, senior sister Zhonghua. Yang Seol ran abandoned her pursuit of Chonsan and rushed to Zhonghua's side. Zhonghua could not form a coherent answer, only groaning, her gaze unfocused, consciousness ebbed. Yang Seol ran, whirled, and shouted, "Everyone, fall back to the 100 Flower Room." At her command, disciples of the Ame sect and 100 Flower Room carried both wounded and fallen, retreating rapidly. Senior brother, Shomsan ran to Chongyob. Chongyob couldn't speak. To force words through torn chi pathways would worsen his internal injuries. He knew that if he pressed the attack, he could crush Ame's momentum completely. But Qingcheng and Golden Gate had suffered immense damage. Continuing now was impossible. Chongsan read the order in his senior brother's eyes and shouted instead, "We're withdrawing as well." The disciples of Qingcheng and Golden Gate retreated, dragging casualties behind them. Fozanhe and the Fire Dragon Room had coincidentally taken Qingcheng's side. He could feel the venom in the Ime disciples' gazes. He wanted to explain, but he knew it was pointless. No matter what he said, the Fire Dragon Room was now seen as Qingcheng's ally. He had made an enemy of Ime. Heavens, why? He resented the sky for his misfortune. But he did not know. It was not the heavens. It was because of a single man, still watching, silently, from atop a tall tree. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.